Hello, class. We have 1 minute before the official start time. Oh, it's great. Some of you are brave enough to turn on your videos. Great. If you have any general questions before we start, please go ahead, unmute yourself and share your questions. Okay, it's 3:35 now. Welcome to IT 262 Information Technology Project Management course in spring 2020. I'm Dr. Elahe. Very excited to be here. I've shared a few things about the class on ReggieNet, so make sure you see Start Here module if you haven't done so already. There are 2 short videos there. One is orientation, and the other is a little bit about the structure of the course. Very briefly, I'll share 2 points here. First, I don't give you points for attendance, but it's very important to attend the classes. Things that may take a few hours for you to figure out at home, you can show up for 1 hour and 15 minutes, do it with me in the class and be done. So believe me, it's much easier to just attend the class and do the things with me. For lab exercises, to get credit, you have to be in class or you have to meet me one-on-one to show me the steps you've taken to complete the lab exercise. So that's the only one requirement. The class will be very hands-on. We will have tool-based exercises or paper and pencil exercises, and many of you will help me do the activities in the class with you to show to your classmates. This is one part about the orientation. I'll let you watch the full video on ReggieNet Start Here module. The second piece is the structure of the course. The course is divided to 2 6-week learning periods. During the first 6 weeks, we focus on items from PMI, PMBOK, Project Management, Body of Knowledge, focuses on traditional project management. During the next 6 weeks, we are going to focus on PMI, ACP, Agile Certified Practitioners. We're going to take a few concepts from that. Some of it I'll focus on in class. Some of it, it's your job to dig deeper and learn more on your own. So attendance is a key thing, even if you're not given points for it. 2, the course has 2 learning periods, 1 exam at the end of each. We'll talk about the syllabus if we get a chance at the end of the class today. But I have a full lecture. I have a few activities for you to work on. So if you have any questions, ask me now. And if not, we'll get started. Any questions? I'm going to tell you, this is the first class that I have cameras on by students. So it's amazing. I'm not talking to black boxes anymore. So great. I like that. And I understand some of you don't have the means, don't have the quiet environment. So it's okay if you don't turn on your cameras. So we're good. No questions? All right.
So I guess really quick, I couldn't find where on ReggieNet the syllabus was even located at.
Start Here module. Let me share that quickly. And I have the ReggieNet page open. So let me have my Okay, this is the start here module, and here is the course syllabus link. Let me have the slides. The minimize, share. Do you see the big version of my slide, Queenland? The big screen version? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So let me have the small version for myself here. And this is the plan for today. We're going to talk about work breakdown structure. We're going to talk about project life cycle, talk about classic mistakes if we get a chance, and we'll talk about the syllabus. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about your lab exercise on Wednesday. You need a software tool for that. We will spend 10 minutes on how to get the software tool ready for the Wednesday lab exercise. All right. I want you to look at this picture that I have in front of you. Help me describe what it does for a project. Help me give a label. And just if anybody wants to volunteer and tell us what they see and how they think it can help a project. I'm going to give everyone about a minute to scan the information that's in front of you. Any volunteers?
Well, it looks like a pretty simple task list. Saying the duration of each task when it's started and finished.
Perfect. That's a good label. A task list, a list of activities, their duration, the start and finish time. What you see on the right, two columns, can anybody tell me what those may be? Predecessors?
Is it the tasks that need to be finished before that task can be started?
Exactly. So this is what we call a task sheet on Microsoft Project. A general name for it is a work breakdown structure. Your friends talked about a task list. All those are valid labels for this. Some people call it a schedule because a work breakdown structure has all the things a schedule needs as well. So some of those labels, they all tell something about this document that you see in front of you. Let's look at the leftmost column. There is a numbering system. The numbering system shows a hierarchy. Here in this class, we're going to follow the same style of numbering. How does the numbering work? The first level, 2, is a phase. Here it says planning. The second level, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and so on, they are deliverables under that phase. Deliverables are tangible things that you produce for the purpose of sharing progress of your project with the stakeholders. It could be a piece of software they can experiment with. It could be a presentation, it could be a document, it could be a video. Anything people can touch, feel, see, experiment with, or play with. So the second level, you see deliverables. And under each deliverable, that's the third level, 2.1.1 and after, that's the list of activities that would help you achieve or produce that deliverable. So to produce a project charter, I need to prepare a scope statement. I need to identify resources. I need to identify risk and feasibility factors and so on. List of activities, your lowest level, are the things that you can actually assign to people. So you can say, Quinlan can do this, John can do that, Benjamin can do this. So those are the things that you can actually assign to your people. Then, as your friend Ryan, I think, shared, predecessors, they show dependencies among different activities. Do I have to wait for another activity before I can start or I can finish this current activity? Dependencies, they are of two types. You can have resource dependency. I cannot work on this task. Why? Because my resources are busy with another task. So resources could be people, could be your hardware, could be your bandwidth, could be your licenses, could be your server capacity. It could be any resource that is busy currently working on another task. Another type of dependency is outcome dependency. I'm sorry about that. Outcome dependency is when you need outcome of another activity for this current activity. So when we talk about predecessors and the way they show it, they use row numbers of the other task or their WBS, work breakdown structure identifier. The way we show it, we show that I cannot do this task. I need something that's currently not available to me. It's resources not available to me, or it's outcome I need from another activity. So all you saw here, a hierarchy that goes from phases to deliverables to activities. Your duration, your finish and end time, your predecessors, dependencies, and also your resources that didn't fit in this screenshot that I have shared with you. All of them, they go on something that we call a task sheet on Microsoft Project, which is in general called a work breakdown structure. Why? Because it breaks down the bigger work of the project into phases, phases to deliverables, and deliverables to activities. This is the focus of your first lab exercise on Wednesday. You're going to create a very simple work breakdown structure on Wednesday. You're going to advance it, add contextual information to it for your first group assignment. Now go ahead and spend 30 seconds on this next figure that I have on the screen. And I want you to do the same thing. Give me a description, give me a label, share something that you have noted on the picture. 30 seconds. Any volunteers?
Yeah, so it looks like there's this sort of like.
Let me see. I don't hear you well. Let me change something on my. Let me change something here.
I think it's his microphone. The
Really?
gain might be a bit low or something.
Go ahead. Start Start sharing your ideas again. Was it Trent?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's very not loud. Okay, go ahead.
That's strange.
Now it's better. When you get closer, it's better.
I guess I have to get really close for some reason. So I just noticed that there's this hump going on where it's like, you know, at the start there's kind of not so much work going on, and then things ramp up, and then as things come to a close, it kind of goes down again.
Perfect. So you noted that there is a chunk of work in the middle, and that's the middle phase of project life cycle. That was a very good observation. That's execution, and you're right, a lot of things happen there. One of the things that happens in the middle is that you're going to create an information systems there, and so you can imagine a lot of time and effort needed to produce that information system. There is defining the project, planning the project, execution in the middle, a big chunk of work, closing project, and evaluating the project. These are 5 phases of project life cycle. And one other thing I want you to note is that closing and evaluation, they take almost the same amount of effort and resources as defining the project and planning the project. And we know that as a fact, in the IT profession, we don't do much we don't do much in terms of evaluation, so we don't give it the time it deserves. And they say that this is one of the reasons that as a profession we are not improving the success rate of the project as much as we could if we did a thorough evaluation of our own projects. Document best practices, documents the area of failure, and documents the area of improvement, and make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes in the future project. So why don't we spend enough time on evaluation? As you may have felt it in your own project, in the class or work or internship projects, we are very tired of our projects toward the end. We just want to be done with it. So this is another important consideration here, and I want you to remember another similar concept that you have heard in 261 before, or maybe you're taking 261 currently. That was Sdlc, Systems Development Lifecycle. We listed major processes for developing an information systems. And that's what you see on the right side. There are planning, analysis, design, implementation, testing, and deploying. These are the major processes, and they don't necessarily have to happen in the order that you see them on the screen. Depending on your approach to Sdlc, you may do things at different orders. For example, if you're doing TDD, test-driven development, you will develop tests before you write your code. So the order of these activities and the time you spend on them depends on your approach to Sdlc. But my question for you is, Sdlc helps you develop an information system. Project lifecycle helps you organize all the work around producing an information system. So it's not only the coding and the design analysis of the information system, it's also about budgeting, facilities, about people, about schedules, risk, and so much more than the project and the technical work itself. How do you connect the two? How do you connect Sdlc back to PLC? Tell me where in PLC Sdlc kicks in to play a role. I'm going to give you a few seconds, and I would be happy to take volunteers. how does Sdlc connect to PLC? And this is just a note. In my classes, I will ask you to participate. So if there are volunteers, great. If not, I will call your names. One reason is that sometimes I like you to talk, and maybe your language, the way you describe things, is more helpful for your classmates than my language. And the second is that I want to know you. I want to know your thinking style. So let's ask Joey, what do you think? Sdlc and PLC, how do they connect?
I apologize. The last couple of minutes, my attention was not focused on this call. Could you please repeat what those are?
So let me go, that's okay. Let me go to another student and maybe they can describe to you what we were talking about. Jonathan, what were we talking about? Go ahead, reiterate and tell us how the two connect. Oh, you don't have a mic, Jonathan? That's okay.
I can answer, so we don't have to delay. As I understand it, they're both outlining the appropriate steps you need to take to prepare for a project and execute it effectively.
Sdlc focuses on information system that you're going to produce. Project lifecycle, it's a little bit broader than that. So it talks about money, risk, scope, schedule, human resources, procurement, and everything around the development and information system. And as you said, they connect this way. Some of you were alluding to that. So that's in the middle phase. That's a bulk of your work in a project. That's where Sdlc kicks in. That's when you actually are working on producing the system itself. So you're doing analysis, you're doing design, you're doing testing, coding, implementation, and deploying in some cases. You deploy pieces of the system. So Sdlc happens in the middle phase of PLC. Some parts may happen before or after, so you may do a little bit of analysis during your initiation or planning phase. Maybe you need some information about the system to craft a good business case and craft a meaningful project charter. But most work related to Sdlc happens in the middle phase of PLC. So project lifecycle are phases that help you organize your efforts to produce an information systems. Sdlc are those core processes that you would follow to create the information systems itself. Let's look at another way of showing these things. So I showed you a work breakdown structure at the beginning, and you did a really good job of analyzing the information in front of you. Then we looked at PLC, project lifecycle phases, and system development lifecycle phases. This document that you see in front of you has all those pieces of information together. So what do we see here? It's a work breakdown structure. Why? Because you see at the top, it's e-commerce, bank project, and it's been broken to smaller pieces. So that's a work breakdown structure right there. Now, where is PLC? I see the phases of PLC listed. Remember, in work breakdown structure, we break down the project to phases, phases to deliverables, and deliverables to activities. So you see phase 1 of project lifecycle, phase 2 is development of a plan, and phase 3, it shows Sdlc phases. So Sdlc phases have been placed instead of the big execution phase in the middle, the SDLC phases have been listed here: analysis, design, construction, testing, and implementation. That's for the execution part of PLC, middle phase. And then you go to closing and evaluation. So in summary, I had phase 1, phase 2. Instead of this one, I'm sorry, I don't know why I get these notifications. I apologize. So instead of execution, I listed my SDLC phases, and then I go to closing and evaluation. Now, we talked about phases and deliverables. Here in the testing phase, 2 deliverables have been listed. First one is the test plan. The second one is the test results report. The third one here is a milestone. Milestone is something, it's a very significant date on your schedule. It's not a deliverable or a task or a phase. It just shows that you've achieved something at that point in time. So you have 2 deliverables here, and then under test result report, it's been expanded to show the activities you would do to produce test results report. Phases to deliverables to activities. This is a key in our class. You're going to practice doing this. A very simple form of this style of work breakdown structure. And then activities are those that you can actually estimate duration of, set finish and end time, start and finish time, and assign resources and dependencies to.
I have a quick question about that.
Go ahead.
Last slide. So everything from analysis to implementation, that's the project, like executing the project plan part?
Exactly. We just
Okay.
replaced those with SDLC phases.
Okay.
Good question. What you see here is what you're going to see on Wednesday. You are going to do your task sheet or work breakdown structure document on Microsoft Project, and then the diagram on the right will be automatically created for you. We call it a Gantt chart. It shows the same information, but visually. There are so many ways for you to make it easy for yourself and your teammates to track progress and note the milestones, find glitches if you use the features of the software available to you. But the simple form of it starts from the top left to the bottom right. It shows the phases by the gray bars, activities blue bars, and the length of the bar is proportionate to the duration of activity. Arrows, they show dependencies, and those names are the resources that you're putting, the human resources that you're putting on specific activities. Work breakdown structure, Gantt chart, simple tool for planning and for tracking progress. A very important idea here is that your planning document is a live document. So you create it at the beginning of the project, but will be updated as uncertainties unfold in front of you. So a task may take longer. New dependencies may appear on your schedule because you lose resources. Things may be expedited because you receive new resources. So the document, the work breakdown structure, and Gantt chart are planning and monitoring tools. So they help you get started, but you have to keep updating them and you have to refer back to them on a day-to-day basis. So I talked about dependencies in your work breakdown structure. This is a planning and monitoring tool there are different types of dependencies. The most common type of dependencies, let me take back, there are two different categories of dependency, outcome or resource dependency. We talked about that a few minutes ago. There are different forms of dependencies that show what can start or what can end and how those timings depend on each other. So the most common form of it is finish to start. So here in this picture, the arrow goes from A to B, meaning that A is a predecessor for B. B depends on A. How? For B to start, A has to finish. So it goes from finish of A to start of B. This is finish to start dependency. This is the most common. When you use the software tool, is the default form of dependency. You can have a start to start dependency. You can say that I can start coding as soon as I start writing my test cases. You could add a lag. You could say I can start coding 3 days after I created my first test case. So give it a lag. Start with a lag. That's an example. Finish to finish, things should finish together. For instance, if I want to finish my project, I have to close the contracts and return the facilities. Those two have to be done, have to be completed together. So it doesn't matter when I started closing my facilities or returning my facilities. It doesn't matter how many days I took to close my contracts, but it matters that they finish together on a date. That's the end of my project. So finish to finish dependency there. Start to finish. Something has to start before I can finish the current task. So note here, for A to finish, B has to start. An example, I cannot finish deployment of the project unless the help desk has been launched. So finishing the deployment process depends on starting the help desk. So this is a little bit hard. If you give it some thought, probably you can come up with examples in your work, in your life, cooking, sports, activities that you do, to come up with these examples. So I've been talking for about 30 minutes now. It's time for you to go to your breakout rooms for 5 minutes. I want you to think about your life, sports activities, driving activities, cooking activities, partying patterns, and give me examples of these dependencies. I need 2 examples. I think the most common example that you would come up with and the fastest one would be a finish to start. So I'll get one of that from each breakout room. And I want to get you to think about another form of dependency. Have you ever had a start to start dependency in your life? Finish to finish, start to finish. So you have 5 minutes. I'm going to create the breakout rooms. Let me check the chat room. So escape analysis, Eddie, I missed your comment. So I'll get back to that after you are done with this activity. So your goal in these 5 minutes is to come up with examples of these forms of dependencies, 2 of them, and give me at least one of the non-common one. And the most common one, you know, is finish to start. So let's say breakout rooms. How many are we here? I'm not sure if I know. So 22, let's send you to 7 breakout rooms. Feel free to get to know each other a little bit. You're going to be working in groups, so it's a good chance for you to learn a little bit about your classmates. Work on the dependencies. Be prepared to talk after you're done with the 5-minute discussion. All right, everyone is back. Welcome back. I want to ask Dylan, what do you have to share from your breakout room?
Okay, so we came up with a couple of things for the finish to start relationship. We thought there were quite a few of them. The first example we came up of was you might have to finish college in order to actually start a new job, because you might have to have that college done in order to get the job. Another one we came up with was for the finish to finish, you might have a program where you have two different classes, and in order for one class to work properly, you have to finish the other class before you can finish that class, before you can finish the second class. And that's about as far as we got.
That's finish to finish, you think?
That's what we thought. I'm not
We
too
kind of
sure.
discussed how one class might have a dependency on a section in another class, so both have to be
Right.
finished for either to operate fully.
Right.
So they don't both of them have to finish for you to take a future class, or you have to concurrently be enrolled in them?
Oh no, we meant in like a programming, like a class dependent program, like
Right,
a
yeah.
Java program, for example, not like an education course.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Good. And for the college education and job, you may want to say that is a start to start, depending on how people do it. I know some of my students are working and they don't still have their degree, and that's the job they want to keep even after graduation.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah.
But it was the purpose of this exercise was for you to discuss, and you've done a good job doing that. So next one is Naomi from group 5. What did you talk about, Naomi?
So what we had was for finish to start is passing a baton in a track meet. And then what Eddie mentioned in the chat was like when you make chili, you finish cooking the ground beef and then you add the vegetables and then combine them together.
Okay, great examples from cooking too. All right, so let's go to Mason. Mason or Mason? How do I call you? Are you here?
It's Mason.
Mason, thank you.
For our for finish to finish, we also had the programming, like starting in Java and then moving on to Python. Like you have to finish Java first to go to Python. And for finish to start, we didn't really get one for that.
Sure. Let's go to Nick C. I think we have more than one Nick in the class, but I believe only one Nick is here. So Nick,
all right, so hello. So my group discussed as our finish to start in terms of, we were talking about baking a cake. So you have to finish preheating the oven before you can put the cake in there to cook. And so for finish to finish, we also discussed the process of shutting a computer off, that in order for the process of shutting off to finish, you have to wait for all the applications to finish as well.
Perfect. Let's go to Greg, group 4.
Yeah, for like the start, we talked about like skateboarding and how like everything built off of each other. So you can't just do one trick, you have to do multiple. And for finish to finish, we said what they said earlier about the classes, how you have to finish one to finish the other.
Perfect. Let's go to Caitlin. I think you're in group 1, yes?
Yeah. For finish to start, we did you have to cook the food in order to eat the food. And from start to start, we did baking a cake and making icing.
Nice. Nice examples. Justice from second group.
Our group had 2 cooking examples. The first one was finish to start, where you have to buy the food in order to cook the food. And then in like a restaurant setting, if you have a customer that's ordering food, you have to prepare all the different parts of it before you can serve it to them.
That's finish to finish, you say?
Yes.
Exactly. Things have to be done at the same time. So I believe I've talked to every group. So Caitlin, Dylan, Justice, Greg, Naomi, Mason, and Nixie, thank you for sharing your group discussion. I have a few other things to go over, and then we're going to watch a short video together. Any questions on the dependencies? No? All right, let's look at these definitions. Who has a mic? John, can you confirm that you see my PowerPoint slide?
Yes,
the
we
big
can see
version?
it.
Okay, perfect. I'm not sure how sometimes the smaller version appears in front of you. So project management body of knowledge, it summarizes all the activities, processes, tools, and techniques in traditional project management. This is a big book. I have it in my office. If you sign up for PMI, you can purchase this, but and this is the resource project managers use to prepare for the certification, PMP certification. It has a lot of wording and a lot of useful pictures and explanations and questions. But for us, at this time, I'm gonna introduce the project's definition from that book that we're gonna use as a working definition in this class. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to accomplish a unique purpose. So there is a difference between IT projects and IT operations. Operations are the daily based services that you provide to the stakeholders of the organizations. Projects are defined. They have a start date, an end date, and they have a specific output. Is it that you are trying to immigrate from the old system to a new ERP system that we did probably, let's see, 6 years ago here at ISU? Or whether it's introducing new services, introducing new processes, more optimized processes to your stakeholders. It ends and the outcome is very specific. When you do the projects, your IT operations will still go on. So even if you're immigrating your services from one platform to another, during that time, if it's ISU, your students will still be able to sign up for classes, see their grades, and submit their assignments. So the transition will be seamless. The project management is application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities in order to meet project requirements. A lot of things I focus on in this class during my lectures are the techniques. I want to teach you to do things. There are a lot of terms that go around these tools and techniques. Sometimes I talk about them, sometimes I don't. So I rely on you to do your quizzes, do the readings of the book PowerPoint slides, and complete those items that I don't get a chance to focus on during the class time. So I focus on skills, I focus on techniques, and then I let you learn the terms around them. This is the project management definition and the project's definition. The 10 areas that are defined in project management body of knowledge. So if you notice the acronym on the top left of the screen, it reads project management body of knowledge. There are 10 areas in there, and we're going to talk about these 10 areas one way or the other. Maybe you use a tool to put a chart on your project deliverables for the group assignments. Maybe you do a lab exercise with me. Maybe we do a paper and pencil activity here. We do something about each of these 10 areas. So let's look at them from top left. The stakeholders, who are they and what you need to know about them? Are they interested in your project? Are they positively or negatively interested? Or are they indifferent? What kind of strategies you should take to deal with specific groups of stakeholders. Then you see procurement, what facilities, what human resources, what technologies, licenses, a network infrastructure, hardware pieces, licenses I need to make this project go smoothly. Risk, what are those uncertainties that may impact your project? How are you going to manage for them? What are the top priorities? What are your mitigation strategies? Communication is how you want to communicate with different groups of stakeholders, and how often, in what format, and using what media. Are you going to phone call them? Are you going to invite them to your meetings? Is it going to be sending them a video demonstration of your work? So the type of information you disseminate to different groups of stakeholders, the format of the information, the frequency and structure of that information. Human resources is a lot about dealing with people. We talk about organizational structure there. We talk about formal and informal structures and how you would need to examine those to inform your decision-making process for the project. Quality is a big part of our discussions. We do a lab exercise on quality. There will be so many exam questions, and there will be a part on your group assignments on quality. Integration is about putting everything together, and the second piece of your group assignments and the work related to that fit into integration. It's about thinking about the project as a whole, all these different dimensions, putting them together and making sure the whole thing is coherent and is accepted by your sponsors. Scope is the list of functionalities that you're going to deliver in the final product. Time is about your scheduling, so part of the information you saw on your work breakdown structure is related to time. Cost is about the money, where it goes, how it's spent. All these 10 areas, we'll be talking about them in some way. So we're going to visit this picture again and again. Feel free to examine the pieces and the activities that are shown on the branches. Feel free to go back to this picture or maybe print it and put it on your wall. This is going to be our focus for the first 6 weeks of this class. And right now, I'm going to ask you to watch a video with me, a very short video. And I want you to think about this as a project, what you see on the screen. And I want you to think about what is going wrong or right. So for the start, I would need someone to confirm that they hear the video. So I'll stop sharing these and find the video and share the video. Where is it? Where did it go? So let me double check. This is the screen. It should be black. Yep, that's it. So I'm sharing. I'm gonna, let's see, I have a chat note. Oh, you, okay. How long was I frozen? Did you miss a discussion? Not long. I said it won't happen in my office. I knew it happens in my home, but I was hoping it doesn't happen here. Sorry about that. So let's see. And I think I need to change the audio, and let's see if you hear it. If you don't hear it, John, unmute yourself and tell me, okay? Thanks.
I don't think we hear it.
Yeah.
No, I don't hear anything right now.
You didn't hear it? Let's try again.
I didn't hear anything.
That objective and then some.
Now we can.
It is working.
There
Yeah,
it
we can
is.
hear it now.
Working?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We have met that objective and then some. The Bradley Armored Personnel Carrier will bring troops to a combat zone swiftly, efficiently, and safely. It will hold 11 men, plus a driver, and features a 20-millimeter cannon, which will provide ample firepower and at the same time flexibility. Lightly armored, speedy, and solidly engineered, our troops will be arriving at the battlefield in the very finest American technology has to offer. And at $1.5 million per, a real bargain.
Nice work, Colonel. Outstanding. Damn impressive.
In other words, it was designed to be a big taxi cab, drive guys to the battlefield and go back home.
But how did it end up with a turret on top?
Well, this is all well and good, Colonel Smith, but something wrong, General?
Well, with this gorilla in production, I don't suppose there's going to be anything left in the budget for my scout.
Down it, Bob.
You don't need scouts. You have radar, air recon, satellites. You always need a scout. And you know what I'm thinking? Why couldn't this thing serve as a scout?
But it's a troop carrier, General.
But this is a speedy vehicle. Why can't it be both?
Well, for one thing, it's too big. And for the other, you can't really see out all that much from inside.
Sounds like a design flaw to me.
Design flaw? No.
No, we'll just stick a turret on top with lots of opticals.
But then, sir, it'll be even bigger.
Well, what's your problem, Smith? Not elegant enough for you?
Well, the thing is, General, it's kind of hard to do a sneak and peek when you're over 10 feet tall.
He's got a point, Bob. Well, all I know is we need a scout. This is fast enough to do the job, and it's funded.
Well, actually, we're a hair over budget.
You turn the Bradley into a scout. We're going to be selling them off to some El Presidente de Chimichanga in no time.
Anything for surveillance ends up south of the border before the paint even dries.
When you needed that anti-aircraft gun, who backed you up on that?
You did, Bob.
And who testified to appropriations on behalf of that gun?
You did, Bob.
I'm talking to appropriations next week. Now, do I sell you on my scout or do I not?
You did, Bob.
And how about some portholes along the side for individual firearms so the fellas can stick out their guns and shoot people? Good. And you know what, Colonel? We already have the turret. We ought to get the biggest bang we can up there.
I'm sorry, bang, sir?
You can't hurt anybody with that pansy-ass gun. Add on some firepower.
Where am I supposed to fit the extra ammo?
I don't know. Can't you just shift things around? Make some room.
You already got 4,400 rounds of machine gun ammo. Now you want to add 25-millimeter shells.
General wants his ammo.
You can't have his ammo unless he runs alongside this thing carrying it.
Well, can you just squeeze it in?
No.
Oh, come on, just squeeze it in.
We're not trying on Levi's here, Colonel. Are you telling me that in a vehicle this size, you can't find room for a few rounds of ammunition?
Not in its current configuration, no, sir.
So the configuration's wrong. There must be something you can dump.
Dump, sir?
Something you don't need.
General, the interior is very spare. Besides the ammunition and the men...
Maybe you can leave one of the fellows behind. Put the ammo where the men go.
Sir, it is a troop carrier.
So, make a couple extra trips. What's the difference?
They want a transport that doesn't carry men and a scout that's got a cannon as big as a tank's on it.
And portholes.
Oh, great, portholes. So the guys can shoot out whatever they can't hit with their cannon.
You don't have to buy the damn thing, Jones. Just draw it. That's one hell of a cannon.
That's a problem.
Why?
You go out in a battlefield with this pecker sticking out of your turret, and the enemy's gonna unload on you with all they got. Might as well paint a big red bullseye on the side.
But it's a troop carrier, not a tank.
Do you want me to put a sign on it in 50 languages? I'm a troop carrier, not a tank. Please don't shoot at me.
This was going to be so beautiful.
That's good work, Smith. Looks perfect to me.
Thank you, sir.
Thing is,
Yes, General?
looks a little like a tank with that cannon on top. Probably gonna draw more fire.
Actually, sir, that has come to our attention.
We know it's not a tank, but will the other side?
I guess we could always stick in the armor, toughen up the hide a bit.
Colonel Smith, could you explain why you put those portholes there?
Yes, sir. As per your request, so the men could shoot out at the enemy.
You're joking, aren't you?
Besides, portholes? What are we in now, the Navy? Say, you think you could make this thing amphibious? You know, get the troops across a river?
No. No, sir. No. No.
Amphibious? The Bradley's supposed to swim?
In theory, at least.
Amphibious troop carrier / scout / tank. Couple more months, I bet they can get this thing to fly.
What's this in the margin? Please help me. I am losing my mind. RLS.
Lieutenant Colonel Robert Laurel Smith, Head of Oversight and Development.
All right, class. What was going on here? Was there a trouble? Do you think this project is going to be a failed project or a successful project or a challenged project?
It's going to be a total failure.
Why?
Because at the start, they wanted to make just a simple troop carrier, and then they keep getting sidetracked further and further. They're basically making a tank. It's not even going to carry any troops.
Perfect. So the requirements changed, yes? The requirements of the project changed. We call this scope creep. When let's look at Jonathan's note. So they all approved without discussion. They wouldn't take everyone's input, and instead of fixing the problem, they kept adding more. Yes, that's the definition of a scope creep. Usually it happens when a project manager doesn't do a good job protecting this scope. So one role a project manager plays is the role of a gatekeeper, making sure nothing is added, making sure what is inside the defined scope can be delivered. One thing you can do to protect against this type of a scope expansion or scope creep is to make sure you define out of scope in your project charter. So you're telling stakeholders that this is what I will not do. Under any circumstances, I will not be able to do your AI component. I will not be able to do the chatbot or so on. And in this scenario, the person didn't have the authority. So the setting was that the project manager didn't have the confidence or the place in the room to say no. The real project is called Lamp Edge, and it was gonna be an amphibious vehicle, and the requirements took 11 years to be finalized. And as Quinlan predicted, yes, the project was finally terminated, but it took 11 years to finalize requirements of this amphibious vehicle that was supposed to be created and do some of these things. You're gonna hear pieces of that project in some of your work during the semester. I'm gonna end the discussion of the project management today. I'm gonna talk very quickly about the way you wanna prepare for Wednesday lab exercise. So how many of you are Windows Mac users? Mac? No? Then that's good. I don't see any hands or thumbs up. So let me show you the RegNet page. So let's go to, here is your start here page, and this is the student view.
We're viewing the PowerPoint at the moment.
Oh, let me.
And Mason said in the chat he's a Mac user.
He's not what?
There's a chat message.
Okay. What's the chat message? Oh, perfect. I'll show the Mac users. So let me fix the sharing part first, and then we do the Mac part. So here you start your module. Some of you asked me at the beginning, where is the syllabus? This is the syllabus. This is the syllabus quiz is not visible to you. I have to fix that. So there will be a syllabus quiz here. For some reason is not. And I'll fix that. And this is your mini assignment 1. And I think some of you have already completed that. Yes, Eddie, Matt G, Alex C, Edward, and some of you are working on it right now. Perfect. So you're going to sign up for pmi.org, work on that mini assignment. Next thing I want to do, go to the technical requirements. And for Microsoft Project Windows users, go ahead, click on this link and go to Azure, signing with your ULID and password, and go to Software tab on the left, search for project, and download Microsoft Project 2019. I think this is the best and easiest way to do your lab exercise 1, also your group assignment 1.
Sorry, I wasn't able to follow along for a second.
Yeah.
Where on RegNet was that?
Could you do that again?
Yes, here on Start Here module, I'm going to go back. This is your Start Here module. Here is technical requirements, help and beyond. Then here is the Microsoft project link. Do you see that? One of you please stay unmuted.
Yes.
Yeah, we got it.
So just one of you stay unmuted so I can double check. And this is the Azure link at the top. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then you're going to log in with your ULID and password. And you're going to, on the left, there is a software tab. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Oh, no, not that much. So this is the software tab. Do you see that? Search for project and download that. And I believe it's been long since I've done it, but I think you download and it gives you a key. You have to put in the key. This is supposed to be free, and it is free. So go ahead, do that, Windows user. Now for Mac users, you're gonna do the VM Labs. I think the way the School of IT has done it, there are two ways of doing it. One of them requires VPN, one of them doesn't. So as of fall 2020, they have a version that doesn't require VPN. So if you need to know what, go ahead and read these other two links. But eventually you're gonna get here. You can install the Horizon client or just go with the web-based. And then you're gonna log in with your URIT password, IT lab pool. And then there, under Microsoft group, you can find project. So Mac users will need to do VMware, VMlab. If you have VMware on your MacBook, you can go ahead and download Microsoft Project the same way your Windows users, classmates are doing it. It's up to you. If you don't have VMware, VMlab is your only option, and this is project. Do you see that? Was it Jonathan? Jonathan, are you able to see? Are you able to follow? So for Wednesday, everybody needs to be ready. At the beginning of the class, we do a quick overview of work breakdown structure. Then we're gonna complete the lab exercise together, and then you're gonna be done. I will ask you to share your screen. I look at your work breakdown structure. I confirm that you've done all the necessary steps. You submit and you get credit for the lab exercise. The purpose of the lab exercise is to practice doing things with me. So I would need to see, and then you'll be done during the class time. I'll work to fix your syllabus quiz. It will be due Sunday at midnight. And there is a mini assignment for you. So lab 1 with me on Wednesday, your syllabus quiz after I fix the problem, and your mini assignment due on Sunday at midnight. Any questions for me?
Yeah, sorry, I got to the Azure website. Where do I go from here once I'm on here?
Go ahead, share your screen.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I have the same thing on the software section there. I have 52 items for some reason.
Yeah, that's the same thing I'm looking at.
Search for project, see if you can find it. If you
okay,
Project
yeah.
Professional 2019.
Yep.
Okay, got it now. Thanks.
So if anybody else had the same issue, then you're good to go. If you have any questions, let me know.
It says that we have a 2-minute video. Do you know where we post that?
Oh, thank you. The Flipgrid video introduction. Yes, please do that too. This is the 2-minute video introduction. Please do that. And I'm going to change all the deadlines to Sunday at midnight. So go ahead. And I think some of you have already done. Where is the introduction? Oh, I don't see I have to log in. So you would record your response, and it's going to be 2 minutes. Talk about something that makes you excited about the course, something that makes you nervous. And I'll be able to see them on my side. Yes, for Mac users, do IT Lab Pool. And I forgot about the 2-minute introduction. Please work on that as well. Ask me questions via email. And I'll see you on Wednesday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Bye.